We thank you, Jesus. Recognize your presence, Jesus, among us, God.
Almighty God.
And we know that there is nothing that we can do beside you, Jesus.
Right now.
There is nothing that we can do on our own, God. That's why we pray. That's why we really need your presence, Jesus. That's the only thing that can help us to overcome all the temptations or the things that can be distracting us, God. We really need you, Jesus. We really need you, God.
We need that your presence, Lord Jesus Christ, will take control today.
In everything that we are
pray
doing,
that your presence
as we are your
Jesus
child
Christ
and we're
overcome
learning from you, God, and we're learning how to be like you, Jesus.
Everything
Help
that
us.
we do.
And I know you are a caring
Let
God,
every
and you
breath
really
praise
care
the
about
Lord.
us.
Let
And the one thing
everything
that
we do
really
today
make me
here
feel
honor
so
your name,
good,
O
God.
God.
And it's when I
Please
remember
forgive
that you are
us.
a caring
Forgive us our
God.
sins,
That
forgive
you
us
really
our
care about
trespasses, Lord.
every single
As we
step of
forgive
our
those who
life.
trespass against
That
us,
you are more
Lord.
detailed.
Father, we
put
pray
yourself
that you
together.
cleanse us,
You
Lord,
put
so
yourself
that whatever we
into
speak,
our
whatever we
stuff,
say,
God, because
whatever,
you
Lord
care.
Jesus Christ, we plan to do today,
I'm so thankful that
will
we
be,
have a
Lord
God
Jesus
like
Christ,
you,
to
Jesus.
glorify
And I
you.
know that you are
Will be
willing
to give you
you're willing
praise.
to teach us,
Will
God.
be, Lord Jesus
And
Christ,
you
Father,
care
to
about
teach
every
us
single
and
step
correct us. And Lord Jesus Christ, Father, we
That's
pray
why
that,
we are not
Father,
afraid.
you
Even
rebuke
when
us
we
in
don't
a
do
good
better,
way,
God,
oh
we
God,
know that
today. We pray that, Father,
we
will
have
be impacted by
a
each
servant.
and
We have
every
a
word
God
from the
who
speakers,
emptied
Lord,
himself.
in the name of Jesus Christ.
Who emptied
We know that
himself.
you are able. We know that you are
Yambara
faithful. We know that you are merciful. We know that, Father, you alone
we have the God who did
worthy.
a very, very lasting God to empty yourself.
You
It doesn't
are
even make.
worthy of it all. You are worthy of it all. Far from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. You are worthy. You are worthy of it all. You are worthy of it all. Far from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory.
Yesu ashimwe. Imana ishimwe kuduhaye umwanya mwiza wo kuba imbere yayo kugira ngo dushobore kwiga. Oh, okay. Thanks, Franny. Okay, we thank God that we are here today. It's an opportunity to be able to be here. I always think, whenever I have such opportunity to be here, I always think, oh, what do I do all the time, like this time? Or maybe, I don't know what time it is, maybe it's 11 o'clock, doing homework. Oh yeah, 11:20, doing homework or doing something else, and at some point being distracted. Ariko, we are here to learn, and I would say the craziest thing, to have such beautiful people who just came here so they can help us to learn. I'm so thankful to God. And I welcome you in Tennessee. It's kind of hot to me. Some people, they came from the states that are really cold, and even in the summer. But ours, it's special. We really love that this way. Mariko, I will welcome everybody, and I would love to welcome our Mama, Dr. Faraja. Yes, welcome.
Praise the Lord. And I was like, hesitating to say praise the Lord, but me and this is our Father's home. And praise the Lord cannot go away from us. Right? Before we come to our we want to be together as much as, let's take advantage of those who come late will come. There's always a blessing for those who arrive on time. And I'm always here with this as I wait for some of the people who are talking. And so I was telling our speakers today that being in America, as many years they've been here, but there's still one thing that we haven't changed yet, keeping time. And including myself, I'm not going to exclude myself from that because that's what but my dad taught me one thing when I was a young teenager, like 11 years-ish, where, that experience, knowing myself, how beautiful I was at that age, long hair, and cut my hair. Do you know why? That's what part about it. Because I was late 5 minutes. Yes, because taking care of my hair was one of the most important things for me. And I was thinking about that. Being late to church and yeah. So there are those things, the one thing that I not even prepare. That is something else in life. But let's remind ourselves that when we promise God that we are going to do something, we cannot to say that may God forgive us for this.
Behavior that has not been changing, even though we know the God of
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. So, this is August 19, 2023, in Tennessee, Nashville. But we are not in Nashville, right? We are in Smyrna. Yeah, and I love this beautiful city because 3 years ago, I was here, if I remember very well. And it was December 13 that I was here. And after 3 years, we have another opportunity to come and meet again. How wonderful. And I want to thank my sisters, Sister Angel and Jolie, and they're all youth here in Smyrna, Tennessee, for allowing us to come and share what God has put in our heart, the burden, the fire of few things that God have given us an opportunity to know, that we want to pass it on to all of you. Amen? And not because we know more than you, but because we want to gather together and share the knowledge, because we came also to know from you. We came also to learn from all of you. And I know for sure I'm not going to leave the same. I know I'm going to learn something from each and every one of you here. So I want to welcome everyone. I want to welcome my brothers. This is our first year to have a youth conference. We have been having women exclusive. No men, no boys, but we are blessed to have you. We are blessed to have all the guys together. Thank you, girls. Yeah. So please, if you have your phone, text your friends who are not here, and welcome them, because we are here for one another. I'm so humble even to know that some people drove 13 hours or 15 hours from Dallas, 12 hours, just for this weekend. So when I spoke to them, I felt the tears of joy to know that we have people who take things seriously, and I thank God for them too. So without taking much time, I just want to welcome everyone and to feel free. This is home. Now no one is a guest. All of us, we are now one, and we are ready to hear from every speaker. We are ready to hear from you. We are ready to learn from one another. So I want to thank all our speakers in advance for their time. So thank you so much, and let me give back the mic to our coordinators for the conference. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Come. I was almost forgetting something very important. So, are you shy? Yeah, so this is the team that have been working so hard behind the scene. For any question that we may have, check on them, call them, or text them, or reach out to them. But I want to thank them for making possible for today. This is Angel. We have two angels. This is Angel. She's a daughter of this state. Many of you know her. And she's a wonderful woman of God, a child of God who loves God with all her heart. And one thing that I love about her, she's a go-getter. If she wants to get to something, or if she wants to speak to someone, she'll put her cultural beliefs aside and do it. So I thank God for her and for who she is in the team. And Angel, she's they are not twins, but she's from Georgia. She is she's my cousin, and she loves God. Her family used to be Catholic. Actually, are they still Catholic? They're still Catholic, but since she lives with me now, she has accepted Jesus Christ. Actually, she's going to be baptized soon. Yes. That's the fact. So I learned this from my dad. My dad, whoever used to come to our home, he didn't care if you are a Christian or not, but you have a day to speak in the family prayer before we sleep. So having Angel with me, she has been with me for 10 years. 10 years. I call her my first daughter, although she's my cousin, but she is my daughter. And she loves the Lord. She's fully Christian, soon to be baptized. A new graduate in the house. Yes, I love graduations. And I thank God for her, because if I have got to where I am today, she has invested in me too. So I thank God for your life. I thank God for who you are in my life, Angie. And I love you, you know that. And Jolie, she's a leader. She's a leader who doesn't joke, who doesn't play. For the years that I've known Jolie, she's not that person who can just cover or put things under the rug. No, she is a truthful leader that when she speaks, even people listen and they act. And she's a wonderful leader in this team. And also, one thing that I love about her is that she's very humble, and she's a very good listener. And another fact for her is that soon she's going to get married. Engaged officially. She's taken. Yeah, I thank God for her life. I thank God for who you are. Tennessee is going to miss you, I know. Someone here is going to miss you very much. Yeah, but I thank God for you. I love you. I love you all. Sure.
Hallelujah. Amen. Praise the Lord. Amen. Praise the Lord again. We are so blessed to have you all here. I don't have words because it's very overwhelming. This position with amazing people coming to pour into you. All we have to do is just open up our baskets in the heart to receive. And so we thank all the people who have supported us and who have been with us. Thank you, everybody. Everyone who is here has done something today, or if not today, yesterday. So I'm so grateful for everyone. We're grateful for our speakers. We can't wait to listen to what you have for us today. It's very good. So we are going to introduce all our speakers, and then so we can get to know them and know what they do and who they are, and know their areas of professionalism, if I may say, so that we will know like who's gonna speak what, right? Okay, I'd like to start with my very good friend. I like to call her, I baptized her with a name a few days ago. Please don't laugh, but you can laugh. I call her Dr. Sweetheart. That is Dr. Faraja Kundabantu. Yesterday when I was calling her, I was like, Dr. Sweet, where are you? Like, where are you? You should come. So, Dr. Grace Faraja Kundabantu is a distinguished figure in the realm of gender equality and education empowerment. As the founder and executive director of the African Girls Hope Foundation, she has dedicated her life to fostering positive change in the lives of young girls across Africa. Her expertise in gender-based violence initiatives, coupled with her commitment to education, has positioned her as a trailblazer in the field. She was born and raised in the Democratic Republic of Congo. With unwavering dedication to championing girls' rights and empowering them through education, Dr. Kundabantu's leadership at the African Girls Hope Foundation has been instrumental in transforming lives. Through her visionary initiatives, countless young girls have been given the tools and opportunities they need to reach their full potential. Dr. Kundabantu's impact extends beyond the foundation's endeavors. She serves as an adjunct professor in gender studies at the Jacobs Abbey Global Institute for Leadership Studies, International Relations, Governance and Diplomacy program. Her role as an educator enriches the minds of future leaders, fostering a deep understanding of gender dynamics and empowerment strategies. Educationally, Dr. Kundabantu's achievements are equally remarkable. She holds a PhD in Human and Social Services with an emphasis in Global Human Services from the College of Behavioral Sciences at Walden University. Clap about that before I continue. Yeah, she holds a doctorate, so if you call her, please add the doctor. Her mastery of intricacies, positive change of global human services has provided her with a unique perspective on effecting positive change on a global scale. Her research area is focused on the experiences of refugee women with different physical abilities in Kenya. Kundabantu Grace Faraja, experiences of refugee women with different physical abilities in Kenya. And this is, I think, an article, right? Furthermore, she earned a master's degree in organizational management from Ashford University, demonstrating her adeptness in managing and leading organizational initiatives. Her foundation in numbers is equally strong, with a bachelor's degree in accounting and a minor focus in economics from a Daystar University. Let's clap about that. She's equipped in all areas: accounting, management, gender and equality, everything. So she can help you in anything you want. So please, let's welcome her, Dr. Grace Faraja.
Hey guys, my speaker, like the second one. Before I read her bio, I just want to thank her, like particularly I was about to say to draw from you. I was like, no. Yeah. She's a mom. She has a kids, and in New York is really far away from here. So thank you so for being so humble. We may say, "Oh, Mama Dr. Faraja, she has been doing this for a while. She knows us. We talk a lot, but we don't really even talk to you. But you just thought that like this is what I need to do, and that we really, really recognize that. And I thank you for." You see, we don't even have people here, but like a doctor like you just come here for a few of girls and the boys in Tennessee. Yeah, just want to say thank you so much for that. Dr. Serafina Udahemuka Sargent was born and raised in the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Kivu province. She relocated to the United States of America in November 2008. Dr. Sargent is a proud woman, wife, and the mother of two most beautiful girls in the world. Wow. Dr. Sargent graduated with a bachelor's degrees in health and wellness and a master in public administration from Buffalo State College. She earned a doctorate in healthy administration and public health from Duville. Duville University, and she published her first article called "A Qualitative Study of Care Transition Experiences of Adult Patients with Sickle Cell Disease." Dr. Sargent is a program manager at Diversified Label Solutions, a division of Beyond Support Network, and an adjunct professor at the Educational Opportunities Center at the University at Buffalo. Dr. Sargent also co-founded a not-for-profit organization called Sickle Cell Warriors Buffalo chapter at the Sickle Cell. I cannot read this actually. Patient. Okay, let me see where I am. Okay, network SCTPN. Dr. Sargent engaged the audience when she steps in front of them and leaves them with empowering and provocative thoughts that will challenge and motivate them long after the event is gone. Dr. Sargent is a passionate about people, leadership, and successful stories. Dr. Sargent is zealous about helping people take their careers, dreams, and live to exceptional heights, and all her achievements and success were and are still made possible by people who lived in her and stand with her, and it is her honor to support others. Wow. Clap for her, please. Yeah, you can read.
So, I'll be speaking about or introducing Dear Mercy Mukoga, as they said. Yeah, she's a big sister to so many. We have already learned about you, and we have loved what you do. And we're so happy that you're here, and thank you for taking our invitation serious and sacrificing your time and everything that you were supposed to be doing and come and educate us. So, Dear Mercy Mukoga was born in Democratic Republic of Congo. She and her family immigrated to Houston areas as refugees over 20 years ago. Dear Mercy is a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas who holds an undergraduate degree in health sciences from Stephen F. Austin State University and earned her Master's of Education in clinical mental health counseling from Lama University. She specializes in working with adolescents and adults who struggle with anxiety, depression, life transitions, relationship issues, self-esteem issues, grief, stress, and various mental health disorders. Dear Mercy has over 7 years of experience working with adolescents and providing mentorship and guidance to help them thrive in life. Hey. Yeah. Thank you for what you do. And we are so glad that we get to hear more from you today. So right now, our next speaker is Stella Mwangi. Thank you for being here too. Stella is a wife to one husband and a mother to 4 children. 2 boys, 23 years and 12 years, and 2 girls, 23 years and 6 years. So, she's a certified nurse practitioner and works in a hospital setting in Atlanta, Georgia, in the oncology cancer department. Stella was born and raised in Kenya in a very small town called Ongata, Rongai. She attended a local primary and high school. She was also very active in Sunday school as a child and at the church choir. She also participated in her high school club. Following her high school graduation, her cousin, who was already in the U.S., planted the desire to move to the U.S. for further studies. In Kenya, Stella had achieved a diploma in computer studies and was actively pursuing a higher diploma certificate in computer programming when her invitation to study in the U.S. materialized at the end of 1999. Stella relocated to the U.S. on January 2nd, 2000, at a very young age of 20 years old. She was coming to live with a total stranger, a lady she had only met one time in her life several years prior to her relocation. Stella's first destination was Birmingham, Alabama, where she had been admitted to U.S. 2 months pregnant. No, where she was admitted to Welles State Community College in Huntsville, LA. Unfortunately, since Stella had arrived to the U.S. 2 months pregnant, she had to drop out of college after the first semester so as to birth her oldest son, Alex. Alex was born on August 7, 2000. As soon after Stella found out that she could not afford to return to school full-time with a newborn baby. It wasn't until 6 years later that Stella decided to seriously attempt school again. But this time she was going for a nursing degree as she had been advised by a friend who had lived in the U.S. much longer. That is how she gave up her computer science programming dream. Nursing loved Stella. Nursing loved Stella back, and she found herself going back to school one step at a time. LPN, RN, BSN, MCN, a lot of N's. DMP to follow. Stella has been a Catholic registered nurse for 7 years when the oncology ward came knocking at her door. When applying for her master's program, a story on FB about need for compassionate oncology specialists in Kenya led her to apply for a dual Masters of Science in Nursing, MSN. Family Nursing Practitioner, FNP, track and oncology nursing practitioner program. After graduating with her MSN degree in 2019, her first NP job found her through her emails. Check your emails, yeah. Right. A site that had served as a last-minute clinical site called her for an interview, and the rest is history. Through
Through the 3 years she has been on Courage and Peace, Stella also discovered that the Lord had called her to also minister to her patients by praying and sharing the word of God with them. It gives her so much joy to care for her patients in a holistic way. Thank you for what you do.
Wow, that in itself is a lesson. I think there's a testimony in that bio already. So our next speaker is our only male speaker, Daniel Luther. Wow. Sinarinsko dufite ba Luther b'abanyamurenge. I guess turabagira in another accent, I guess, y'ikinyamurenge. But we are glad to have you. Daniel Mahinga Luther. Yes, that's his name. I'm going to speak as if he's the one speaking, so everything. I have lived most of my life here in the U.S., but I was born in Vura. I was born in an average Christian home and was raised within the same Christian values we are all too familiar with. I'm sad to say that I did not follow those values that my parents desperately wanted me to follow. Because I grew up and developed most of my personal values here in the States, I think it gave me a curious and individualistic sense of identity. I had to know the truth for myself. Or maybe that is who I always was. It is who I am today, so we will never know for certain. I encountered Christ in June of 2015 through a personal experience that has led me to the life I live now. I am a Christian who no longer requires humans to pressure me to love and believe in God. That's amazing. I now know that God is real. I'm currently a youth and young adult pastor as well as the creative director at Panuel Church in Dayton, Ohio. Wow. He's a young adult pastor. We need those. We need more of those. Nonge kukubaha. Once more. So he lives in Ohio. I have been working there for over 2 years now, but have been a member since 2015. I have a minor in philosophy and currently on track to receive my Bachelor of Biblical and Religion Studies soon. That's amazing. I do not have many accolades or achievements, but I give glory to God, to Christ, who has led me to a life of peace and joy that I now walk in a daily basis. Let me tell you, first of all, you have a lot of achievements. Don't ever say that. So we are very thankful that you're here, and we wish you luck in everything. So let's clap for all our speakers now as we get ready to listen to every speaker. Please, if you don't have notes, my friend. No, yeah, we can give you papers, or you can. No, if you use your phones, you'll be distracted. But we'll try to figure out something. Please write something down. You can't trust your brain, my friend. Yeah, we have short-term and long-term memory, so those things disappear. Like you will just remember you had an amazing day, but you won't remember what happened and what they said. And so we love you, speakers, and we are very ready to listen to you and to write down everything you say at Heart and on the book, right? Okay, tubakomera amashikandi. Welcome, Dr. Faraja.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
I hope you're not hungry yet. So, can we all stand up just for a second before we continue? Hey, I see my friend somewhere there. Yeah. Can you allow me to give her a hug, please? Come here. Nashimwe, please clap for her. Oh, my goodness. Good to see you. Are you taking note for us today? Yeah. Good job.
What about her queen?
Where is her queen? They are always together. And I hope they are presenting something for us. Good to see you. These are my girls. You know, we have also, how do we call them? In Swahili we say wasani. Our star. We have stars in the house. By the way, the other ones. Yeah? Yeah, but we have another one in the house here, right here. I know her. You know her? You don't know her? Even Tennessee, you don't know her? How? Come here. Guys, I think it's Angel who shared with me something that can you say, please? Oh, she didn't prepare tonight. Right? Thank you. You know, we have to recognize all these gifts. And these are the gifts that are going to help us even heal from what we are going to talk today. Right? And I have something for us to do. I will have one question from our speaker, one question behind here, and one question from this side, right? And by the way, girls, you can even sit this side. You are not please. Let's mix up. And also, thank you, brother. We have some pen available for writing. This is not an exclusive women only or girls only. Even boys are included, as we announced. Please move to the other side. Okay, one question. Okay, sit down, please. You can answer this question. Who can tell me how many states are represented in here? Before you think, 1 second. Raise your hands. 5? Okay, Pastor Daniel says 5. 4? Maybe 6. Did you say, Dr. Seraphine, you said 6? 5? Oh, 2, 5, 2, 6. 4. Did you count? No. Okay. Don't lie. Okay. This side, how many states are they representing? 3? 4. We have 2, 4, 2, 6, 2, 5. 4, 3, 4. Did you count? Someone is counting in their head. Okay, I want to ask specific. How many states are we representing here? 3? 10? 7? Okay. Sister Stella, maybe you can count. We can count together, right? Okay, me and her, we came from Georgia. That's 1. Texas, 2. New York, 3. Ohio, 4. Is Tennessee included? Tennessee included. Okay, 5. Alabama, 6. Yeah, 7. Who else?
What about 8?
Who? We are 7 states, You want? Did you say 7? Who? Because you share the same row. What's your name, my brother? James? James, you have my gift. No! So he won. So I'll give him my gift. So we are 7 states represented in Tennessee. What a wonderful representation. And you know what? 7 states and also different countries represented. How many countries? Don't count in your head. I can see people doing this. 2? 4? Okay, time up. Dr. Seraphine, count. Kenya? Mm-hmm. Congo? Congo? United States? Burundi? That's 4? Uh-huh. Rwanda? No Rwanda? So we are 4 countries. Oh, Uganda? Oh, where you were born, Bas. You can even add where you were born. Rwanda. So I think we are 5 nations coming from 7 states. Isn't it? Is it? So I just want to thank God for that. And just to see all the different places we have come from. And also the nations that are represented here. Right? And if I can even go further, even different cultures, different tribes. And this is a representation of heaven. Right? And when we come together and do these conferences, we are not coming for we are not wasting time. I know that in one way or the other, we are investing in the lives of one another. I will gain something, you gain something from everything that we'll do here today. So I just wanted to make sure that we all know all the representations so that you know that there's a reason why God has given us this time here in Tennessee that you will always remember. Amen? Oh, Jesus, being a pastor's kid is terrible. It's terrible good. Being a PK. And I thank God that Pastor Daniel is here with us. He's a young man of God. And I can't wait to hear from you. Just as a young man, leading a church or young generation, it is not an easy thing. So we thank you for even accepting our invitation. And also credit goes to Sister Angel, who reached out to you without shying. She was very persistent. It wasn't easy. Yeah, thank you. So I know we have 4 more speakers, and I'm going to be brief because I want also to sit down and receive and hear from them. The reason why I'll be very short, and I'm going to just share with you a little bit of, oh, Jesus. I forgot that I'm old. Yeah, so we have 5 topics, but the main topic today is mental health. And mental health, it's a very broad topic, wide. We can't finish it today in few hours, but we have broke it down in 5 subtopics, of which they are not even also enough to cover everything about mental health. So, but I know for sure that speakers that we have, they will be able to share with us with the subtopics that I've prepared. Let me see. And I will be talking on trauma across borders. So this is not the one. Where is my friend to help me? Yeah, sorry. So as he helped me, I want to also, let me see, okay, here. Okay, I was on a wrong PowerPoint. Okay, thank you. All right. So I would like to talk a little bit about trauma, but again, before I go into my presentation, you know that first of all, mental health or mental issues is a topic that is unspoken in our community, a topic that even our family, they are not yet ready to talk about, to speak about. Even if they will see some changes in our children, in our families, in our community, we are all shy to bring it out or to talk about it. And you all know that, especially with the African beliefs, that it's a taboo to talk about our issues, especially those connecting with our behaviors, of our feelings, and even our reactions, because we tend to think that people will start judging me, people will start thinking I'm crazy, people will start calling me names. But together with this conference that we have been doing in different states, we want to break that silence of keeping quiet when something is happening. We want to break the silence of keeping quiet. And when we see our young generation is going at an early age, we want to go forward and tell the world, tell our community, enough is enough. Enough is enough to keep quiet. Where we have an opportunity to speak out, we can speak out in our churches, everywhere, in our homes, but we have to come in an agreement that all of us, when we learn, then let's go on there and pass on the education, what we learn from one another. And that's how we change our generation. That's how we change our community, our churches, our families. I know for sure after we hear from all the speakers, you will help one person who is near you in your community, in your state. Because I know for sure in one or the other, this issue of mental health have affected all of us. We cannot lie from it. We cannot lie each other. It has affected me. It has affected you. It has affected your friend that you love very much. But sometimes we don't even get the guts to talk, even with our closest friend. Let's sit down. When you realize something is happening, don't keep quiet. So we are here to say, enough is enough. No time to keep quiet. Let's break the silence. And let's change one person at a time. Right? I would like us to I wanted to share with you about trauma. Hey, sorry guys, me with this thing. Huh? So James, be ready for me, okay? For those who know me, I'm not a friend of, yeah. So, trauma. What is trauma? Trauma, you know, it's a crucial thing that we have to understand, and no one can go away from it. No one. And trauma is one aspect that a human being is presented across the world. All of us around the world trauma has presented to us, willingly and unwillingly, we have faced it. From one generation to another, from one geographical area, community, we have all faced trauma in from one thing or to another. And some studies reveals that trauma has been more highly seen in a young generation, either in America or in Africa, right? But specifically here in these countries, in the developed countries, the numbers are very high up there. And we'll come to see those facts of trauma across borders. So what is trauma? So trauma is anything that can change our brain development. For example, the abuse that many people have been facing, right? Something that can trigger your mind, your behavior, and it can be maybe a death in the family. And I know for sure that most of us here, we have faced death in our families or friends. And when you face such issues, it does change something in us. And you will not even recognize it immediately, but it does change something in us. And a couple of definitions that we have put together here about trauma is that from the Oxford Dictionary, define trauma as deeply distressing and disturbing experience. And that's what I just talked about. An experience that everyone have faced, a challenge experience that you have faced or I have faced that's changed. That change and disturbing our daily basis life on how we live. And psychologists define trauma as an emotional response to a terrible event, such as an accident, war, rape, and natural disaster. Those are some of the things that causes of trauma. And also, I want to also say that different scholars also have research on trauma in a very broad way, and what the causes, the effects, and how to heal and all that. But some scholars have also they have described trauma as a challenging emotional experience that has deeply affected and changed the normality lifestyle of an individual. I like this one. Why? It's because when you face a challenge that you have never faced before, like a death in the family or an accident, the first thing that you feel is the emotional behavior that changes immediately. The emotion will come immediately. You will not go away from the emotion. No way. I've experienced that. And I would say that it's so easy for our behavior to change because of one thing that happened in a second. Your whole life is gone. Your all plan that you had in front of you, the future, or the goals, or having a purpose for a bright future can change in a second because of an emotional challenge or something that triggered your life immediately. So we just said Gatumba Memorial last weekend, right, in Portland, Maine. Do you know how much deep is that? Do you know on August 13 what everyone who lost their fellow ones, their family ones, feels. Those emotions comes back vividly as if it was now happening. Am I right? That's what happened with our emotions. It doesn't care how old, how many years that happened. We celebrated 19 years, right? But our friends who lost their fellow ones, the emotions were today. The emotions were like, it's happening. It just happened. But I thank God that we have this discussion so that we can help one another to come out from that, to live and overcome those emotions together with Christ. And I want to make sure, please help me with the timing. Yes. And for me to finish up with the definitions, I want just to read the definition from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They have defined trauma as an event you experience as harmful or life-threatening, and that's what we just talked about. Let's look at, that's where we are. Okay, let's look on, did I click? James, be ready. Uh-oh. Well, technology, I'm not a friend of technology. This one. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oh, okay. So how can we be aware of trauma? How can we be aware of trauma? No, we just, no, this one. Yeah, how can we be aware of trauma? You know, when it happens, you can't just recognize it immediately, right? And I thank God that we have a therapist in the house. When we have her, she will talk and deep more. I love having different people with different skills because they help us to understand better and deeper of these things, because they went to school for it and God has helped them even to start even sharing. So how can we be aware of trauma? I know it is hard to be aware of trauma when it's just happened. And no one, especially in our community, it's hard for us to accept that we are going through trauma. I've never seen our people from our community accepting that I'm having a hard time. I think I'm having sign of traumas. I think I'm having effect of, no one. Maybe our therapist will tell us, Sister Stella, is it easy for Kenyan to accept? It is not. All of Africa, it's kind of a taboo to accept the real situation you are going through. You know, and understanding that the effect of trauma may not reveal themselves for months or even years, and other event that has occurred. That's what I just said. It's very hard to accept or to understand that, I think something has changed in me, or in the way I live, my daily living has changed. It's very hard for someone to accept. So we need to become aware of when the change is happening. It's kind of a confusion there. We don't know when it's happening, and we need to become aware. But let me tell you that when something happens in you, when you are not happy, you know that you are not happy, right? Just a simple example. When someone has said something in you that you didn't like, what do? It goes in there, you keep it there, and you don't want to tell that person, you really offended me. Mimi, the way you talk to me, you really offended me. Right? Oh, Sister Stella, seriously, the way you are calling me, na, it wasn't the right thing to do. We don't come up front and share our feelings. And the more we keep things inside, you keep putting things under the rug. You keep piling and piling. And one day you'll bust. And then you'll be like, where all this coming from? Right? So I believe that with all the educational conference that we are doing, I think it's going to help us to be upfront and start being aware of the changes that are happening in us, right? And of course, let's say this: we are all children of God, and the Bible actually recommends us to talk to the real situation. Literally, in the Bible, Pastor, I remember in Swahili very well, when someone offends you, go talk to them in love. You know, go talk to them in love. Don't go fight. Talk to them in love. Why the Bible recommends us to do that? Because God knew that we are all human beings. We are not excluded from having negative feelings, right? So we have to learn on how to be aware of what is happening in us and the changes that we are having. Yay, I got it. Clap for me. Finally. So let's see the 3 E's of trauma. And this is from different scholars. And they have put together this, and I want to share with you the 3 E's of trauma: event, experience, and effect. And they have well defined it there. An event is actually an extreme trait of physical or psychological harm. May occur as a single event or over a time. So you may have, for example, a death in the family, or your friend being abused in school, or a car accident. That's events happening not one time, but a couple times, and maybe in different ways also. And the second E is experience. What individual experiences and how event may be also linked to a range of factors, including the individual's cultural development. You know, in Africa, we have experienced war, especially those who come from Congo. We have experienced different atrocities that have really triggered our lives, right? And we can't forget that. We can't forget these experiences. As I said, the Gatumba still remember vividly. I remember when it happened. I was in Arusha, Tanzania, together with Apostle Gitwaza. They had a convention when it happened, and I was there in Arusha when it happened. Why do I remember this? It's because it was an experience that our community experienced that we cannot forget, that really, really affected us in a deeply way. And the third E is effect. The critical component of trauma can immediate and long-term affect. The duration of the effect can be short or long. And here, what I learned from here is that it's what I just shared with you a few minutes ago, that when it's very hard when a change happened for us to recognize that something has changed or something bad has really changed my daily way to live. very hard. But again, and it can take a short time or a long time to know, to be aware that you are going through trauma. It can take long or short time. And of course, our speakers will go deeper in that as I go to, let me see if I will remember what to do. No? No. Awesome, yeah. All right, let's see some facts on trauma. Guys, as you can see there, that US, 70% of adults in this country have experienced some type of trauma. 70%. 70%. When I saw this percentage, I was like, what? So that's almost the all Americans. So, and then 51% of general population have experienced trauma during their childhood. We have a mission to do. We have some work to do. And in Australia, we have 57 to 75% of people who have experienced some type of trauma. And in Africa, 24% in sub-Saharan African countries. Yes. Yes. But that's what I said. 24%. Yes. And then I was discussing with one of my fellow, and they say, well, this is what they told me. Oh, even the 70%, actually, the bigger percentage is African American. So they were trying to push themselves not to be part of the percentage. But for this 24, I was like, this is very... Yeah, but especially that Africa and all the African countries, we are number one who have gone through different atrocities in life, more than even here, I believe, in this country. So, I like about researchers and scholars, we agree for some stuff, but we don't agree with some other stuff too. In the same way when we were discussing with my fellow speakers that when people go in Africa, they show all the bad stuff. They don't show the good side of Africa. But it's us to stand up and say, we are also good, right? And the reason why we are all here. But we are going to research on this for the African percentage. And at the end of the conference, after a few weeks, we'll put together all the documents and we'll share all the information to all of you. Whoever will be able to give us the emails, will share the information, all the documents. The reason why we did not print out for everyone is because of the discussion and what we are going to have, what we agree and what we don't agree with. Yeah, so, and then age group, also we have 18 to 25 years had the highest prevalence of, MI. The adult, age 26 to 49, and also 50 and older, 15%. And then also they have shown also 2 or more races, 34.9%. And American Indian, Alaska Native, adult, 26.6%. So those are that researchers put together this, but again, with our conversations and research, and this is why researchers and scholars are always up to continue and talking and discussing about all these issues. Let me see if I can be able to go. No? Oh, Jesus, I thought I graduated. One more year. let's see types of trauma. And I read few research and different people who have discussed about trauma, and everyone has brought their own types of trauma, right? You can also have your own. You can also bring your own idea, and that's the beauty of research. But I did put together this just for this conference, and they have presented three types of trauma: acute trauma, chronic trauma, and complex trauma. And then we have, please tell me with the time so that I don't take time for all our speakers. And you see we have also some description of what every type is. Acute trauma is due to from one incident. And chronic trauma is where a repeated incident has happened a couple times. And I think I did also talk a little bit about that. And complex trauma is when exposed to more than one traumatic event. And there's an example there for us. And of course, we'll have all this. Jesus, help me to graduate again. Okay, and also this is also other types of trauma. This is another researcher who put together these types of trauma, and I really wanted us to see because it has a connection with our own community, refugee. Are you guys sleeping? Are we together? Yeah, so that one is a family trauma, abuse, neglect, experiencing, witnessing domestic violence, all that. And we have also poverty. You know, I didn't know that trauma can come from poverty until when I read. I didn't know. So, lack of resources, support network, or mobility, financial stressor. Jesus, so, hey, but let me say this. We are so strong African that poverty did not kill us. And if trauma could kill people, we could have been the first one to die, right? Because of poverty. But thank God, we are still standing. And refugee and immigrant trauma. That one, this one. This is our story, all of us, including Kenya too. You know, in 2007, I was in Kenya. When during the election, they were trying to play around war in Kenya. I was like, please, Kenya, this is our second home. We know what war is about. So, for sure, this point on refugee and immigrant trauma, I don't know, Pastor Daniel, I think we are all included in this. We have experienced war, or maybe your family members have experienced this type of trauma. You know, displacement, being an immigrant. One person one time told me, oh, you know you're a refugee, and you know I can do anything. Face to face. You know you don't belong here. Just the fact of reminding you that you are a refugee, this is not your home. Oh my gosh. And then you go home with anxiousness, you walking on the road as if everybody know about who you are. Yeah. When you speak, when the English is not very good, you know. Culture shock, right? So I believe we all have experienced this. Medical trauma. And another thing that I didn't know too is the medical trauma. Thank God we have our nurse practitioner here. I didn't know that medical trauma exists until when I read about it. So, the pain of injury, I believe also there are people that have stayed in hospitals, even for more than 1 year, right? I can't imagine. The trauma they have, they are away from their family, they are away from their children, the community. Oh, thank you. They have just shown me that my time is almost up. And let me go next. So these are signs of trauma. All of them, they are nightmares, flashbacks of what happened to you. What? Oh God, insomnia, loss of interest, even eating disorder. I did even eating disorder. Yes, and what else? Hopeless, a decrease of concentration, and what? Shame, self-hatred, panic, and all that. Right? Jolie's laughing. Did you see one of yours? Oh, in the past. Thank God we have been delivered. Yes, okay. Oh, Jesus. Okay, effect of trauma. This is what happened when you have trauma. You will experience chronic pain, right? And the chronic pain, it's something that continues to come back, right? Regularly. And I hear one friend was telling me that they have migraine all the time. Sleep problem. There are people who cannot sleep because of the heaviness of the event, or the remembrance of what happened to them. They can't have sleep. Chest pain. I didn't know that trauma can be the cause of chest pain too, and headaches. So those are some of the effects of trauma. So how can we address trauma in the youth? I believe it's hard to address trauma with the youth or within the youth. Very hard. Because no one will accept that they are going through that. But again, we have to. So children exposed to trauma experience intense emotions, don't have the skills to identify their emotions. Intense emotions become their new normal. It's critical. And then we have some statistic here from a research from one of the schools that they presented. So you can see the chart here, 67.26. The orange one shows trauma, right? 67% is up there, right? That they never, yes. And then sometimes and often you see the percentage where it is too. And on this one is when I have trouble concentrating. And the percentage for those who easily distracted, there's 68.57. And those who are worrying a lot, 76.65. And those with, I feel hopeless all the time. And that's the word that we keep hearing from the youth, right? Or young children. I feel worried, or I feel hopeless. And some of them, they have all their parents. They still have all the stuff of they lack nothing, but they feel hopeless. And I like this final one. How can we heal from trauma? How can we heal from trauma? I like this quote: we don't heal in isolation, but in community. This is why we are here. We came here so that we can heal. We came here so that we can share our struggle. We came here so that, we overcome all those events that happened to us. And we have put that together that we can heal through our talks, our discussion. And then this is one of the things that also many people have recommended, to have at least one or two people who you can trust and share with them your struggle. It might be your pastor. It might be your good friend in school. It might be even your brother or sister, right? Can help you to heal through the process. And I know it's hard to trust one another, but again, we can learn on how to trust one another. Because we need each other's, and we need us to be the community that can heal one another. And on this other quote, I liked it too. If we do not acknowledge our collective trauma, how can we ever heal from it? When we speak, when we share, we can change things, maybe even change the world, right? Okay, let me go on. This is just a continuation of how to heal one another, and I've already shared a few of the things there. And this one, the last one is saying, where there are rules in your home, school clear and fairly administrated, I think we all have an opportunity to heal from trauma. And what are the strategies? I like this. Someone presented a shared about these strategies on that can help trauma healing process, and they like the color and how they have defined it. And I think it's being used also in different schools. You know, I didn't know the impact of using colors until when my kids started coming and telling me, "Oh, today I was this color." Oh, and I was like, "What is this color?" And then when I saw this in one of the research, I was like, I think colors means a lot in this country. So, like they said, blue shows relaxation and peace, clears your mind when you are color blue. And this is a research that they did in a community. And green, healing, a balance, improves your thought. And how do you call that? How do you pronounce that? Magenta? Magenta release helps you let go of the negative thought. And orange, fun, happiness, and enjoy uplifts your mood. And red, energy and vitality, increase strength and energy. I don't know which color are you. I don't know where. You say what? All of them are good. And these are some of the references from all the information that I've shared with you, and I thank you for listening to me. So I would like to say welcome to, we have our team from Texas. They're all here. Please welcome them. Please stand up. Stand up. And I would really love for them to come here. Please clap for them. Come. There are so many people who like to make sure that they know you are here. Oh, Danny? Oh, Arizona. Please welcome Danny from Arizona. Hey.
Hi, good.
I just want to introduce you before the next speaker. He's from Arizona, but his home is Georgia. How did you go to Arizona? So this is our guest. Oh, she stayed. Please come. Christine, please clap for Christine. Yeah, just say your names and where you come from. And hey.
We'll pass on that one, y'all. We're not gonna talk about that. But I do appreciate you every moment that I get out here. My name is Ig. I'm from Texas. I'm glad to be here, y'all. Oh, we wasn't going to talk about that.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm from Texas as well. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you for bringing me here. Thank you so much.
Hi, nitwa Natalia Atete. I'm from Texas and I'm single. Munugiriye kwa litambutse.
Me too. Me too. My name is Danny. Nitwa Gitinyiro Jean de Geminani Sekanyuzi. No, that's actually my name, bro, but you can call me Danny. I'm really happy to be here. I like the topic for like this conference, mental health. We know mental health is like really important for this, for our generation, to be honest. But yeah, thank you.
He's single too. Thank you so much. And we can't wait to hear you in the evening. Guys, don't miss in the evening. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, let's go to our second speaker. Sorry, I wanted to change the order. Can you accept that? Because I really want to hear from our therapist after these three finishes, right? No. Sister Stella will be second, and then Dr. Seraphine, and then Sister Dear Merci, and we finish with our brother, with the only brother, yes, in the house. You know why? Because I really want to learn and the flow, and here I think it's very important to, after we finish all these other small details, and we hear the conclusion of what our therapist is going to recommend us. Right? Thank you so much. Sister, please welcome my sister, Stella.
Praise God. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Hello. Hi, I'm Stella Mwangi Moravi. I am born again. I love the Lord as my personal Savior. I am delighted to be here. I honestly did not think I was qualified to be here. So forgive me if I sound a little bit scared. I've never done this before, so I thank Dr. Grace for the invitation. And I believe that God brings us together and allows you to go through the experiences we go through so that He can make us better and He can use us to help somebody else. So for those who are here, I'm from Kenya. That's where I'm born and raised. Amen. So born in a place called Longatarungai. I'm a wife and a mother to 4 children, 3 biological, 1 stepdaughter. But I'm grateful to God even for this opportunity. So I came here, like my bio said, I was young, I was pregnant. My dad actually had given her a bank statement, all you that know how the process is to come here. I came here as a student, so she needed a bank statement, so my dad gave her one, and the way she returned the favor was to send an invitation for me to come to school here. So that's what happened. So that's how I ended up here. So I had met her one time, and so she gave me my I-20, and I came stranger in a foreign land. And so 23 years later, here I am. And I give all glory to God. So mental health, the stigma of mental health in blacks and African Americans is my topic for today. Like I said, I've never done this. I'm an oncology nurse practitioner, but I think mental health is across the board. It really doesn't matter. And I did see Dr. Grace had a slide about she had a slide about medical trauma. And is it loud? So here, so I don't know what your volume up. It's very interesting because from here I can hear myself very loud. So, and I was wondering, sitting there, I could not hear. So, okay, I will remember that. You're welcome. So, I was talking about, when she was talking about medical trauma, I've been in a position where I have seen patients who come to the hospital and they're there for months. And unfortunately, and I think, like I said, stigma of mental health in African Americans or black people, we are categorized as African Americans. Of course, we're black, we're African Americans, but we know that even for us, the stigma is even worse because of where we come from. So the black or the African American community here has their own struggles stemming from racism. Ours is deeper, and so I guess as we talk, I'll try to incorporate, my work experiences and how I have seen the trauma of mental health or, the stigma of mental health affecting our people. But denial is one big thing that I have noticed, even in us, like Dr. Grace was saying, we suppress these emotions, but more so we are in denial because we think, and I remember one time my mom was telling me about her sister-in-law who was diagnosed with cancer, or she was having symptoms. And by me now being in that field, some of these things I can recognize them. And I told her, I said, Mom, she has cancer. And she goes, don't use the C word. I'm like, but it is a fact. Now, facts are facts, and irrespective of how you look at it, whether it's mental health or mental health issues that we're experiencing, if you ignore or deny, that's why we see all the situations that we end up in because of the denial. So we do not seek help because we're in denial. So we are not accepting, we are not seeking the right help. So let me get started. So what is mental health? So according to WHO, World Health Organization, it is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life. So it is a holistic, it's everything. It's all around. It's not just one thing. It's not just about the mind, but it's even the environment included that allows us to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well, work well, and contribute to their community. And of course, if you have a mental health issue, you're not going to be able to deal with the stresses of life because the stresses will be there irrespective of what you do or what you don't do to prevent them. The stresses will come, jobs, families, marriage, community stuff, and all that. So we experience stress in different ways, but if we learn how to cope with our stresses, Dr. Grace mentioned about facing your facing if somebody offends you, it's important to sort of deal with that in a godly way and address it before it becomes a trauma in you. And I have stories of how I've been traumatized because I did not know how to deal with those issues the right way. So, so mental health, it's a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well, work well, and contribute to their community. Mental health is more than just the absence of mental disorders or disability. It's much more than that. And then, of course, I know you can read. That's where I got that definition. So I thought this was really nice. Mental health, it's a basic human right. Like everybody is entitled to experience mental health, irrespective of where you come from, your background, or who you are even today. It's crucial to personal, community, and socioeconomic development. That picture talks about mental health. These are things that are going through your mind. Can I do it? We get intimidated. Accent, I think that's our biggest thing as immigrants. And I think it's somewhere in my slide. When we come here, there's not enough studies on immigrants, actually, that can talk about mental health or even the stigma of mental health. And so I guess we being here, we are making it open and making sure that people know what mental health is all about or what immigrants experience. And so now that's a big thing. The topic of mental illness is a taboo. It's a taboo in Black or African communities. And I believe that even the Black or the African Americans who are natives of this country, who were born here, who came here as slaves, just mental illness, you cannot talk about it. If you say it is going to become. Now, like I said, there's a faith part of things, and then there's a science part of things. And by being a provider in my profession, I tell people there is science and there is God. God created science, so he gives us the wisdom to either research, that's why medicine are there. That's why we have scientists. So it's unfortunate that most scientists are not believers because they do not realize that the knowledge they have or the ability, the wisdom they have, it's God-given, because we cannot be if it wasn't for God, right? So we cannot separate ourselves from science, and we cannot separate ourselves from God, because he's the vein of our existence. So, but knowing that mental health is a taboo, if we eliminate this stigma, we can help people get the mental health. We can help people get the help they need for their mental health issues. So, despite the needs, only 1 in 3 Black adults with mental illness receive treatment. Ain't that sad? And well, that's the research, that's what it says, but we know there's much more than that. 1 out of 3. And because of the taboo, because once you identify yourself that you have mental illness, I've seen people get bullied on Facebook. Most of us are on Facebook. Most of us have been on some type of social media. If you speak about anxiety or depression, unfortunately, those of us, our own people, who are not well versed with the trauma of mental illness, then they start coming down on people. There's a time we had a conference, a women's conference, and we were talking about the heart. And somehow we talked about, like just disease, physical disease, things that we go through as women. And one time I had anemia so bad, that's blood loss, that's when your hemoglobin levels are low. And one of the signs of anemia is fatigue. You get so tired, it doesn't matter how much you eat. Let me tell you, I gained so much. I was in school, I was eating, I was sleeping, and nothing was making me feel better. The fatigue would not go away. So I would go to work, I was getting dizzy, lightheaded, I couldn't function, but I had to go to school. So during my clinical sessions, I would be standing in a room, I'm listening to the doctors, and literally 5-10 minutes into that visit, I'm dozing off. That's how serious it was. My knees would buckle because I am so worn out, but I'm in my clinical setting. I could not afford not to attend because I needed those grades. I needed to be there. I needed to graduate. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was hurting me. So eventually, I went to the emergency room. And as we'll see with mental health, I went to the emergency room. They did the blood work. Everything was normal. And they're looking at me like, your symptoms don't tell us anything. You know, dizziness, fatigue, what else? Headaches a little bit, you know. Doesn't tell us much. So they gave me some fluids, and they gave me some medications for dizziness. So add the fatigue and the sleepiness on top of the medications for dizziness that already cause, they make you more sleepy. So one day I had to call off going to clinicals because I could not wake up. I could not function. I woke up, got ready, and I was just like, I was so sleepy and tired. It wasn't funny. And then on top of that, I had a baby who was probably, she was probably a year old. She was probably a year and a half. So my sister was there. I kid you not, I went to bed the night before, however long I slept. I woke up in the morning. I slept the entire day. My son came home from school at 2:30. He's the one that woke me up. I was still sleeping. So long story short, I go to the doctors, and I went to a cardiologist because I had heard a history of heart murmur, and it's how sometimes God uses different people. Because now, get this, my primary care doctor, who was also my preceptor, she told me, Stella, you're in school. You just had a baby, you work, you're going to have all the symptoms. So you're tired, you're exhausted, you're not. Oh, and by the way, my mental, being able to retain information, I used to go to my clinical site before all this happened. We would see a patient, and literally, I'm not lying, 8 hours after we saw that patient in the morning, I could tell you exactly what the conversation was. So I went from that, having that sharp memory, retaining information, to where I could not tell you what we talked about 5 minutes before. So I had all that going. So she thinks, once you're done with school, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like mid-2018. I have until August 2019 to graduate. I was like, I can't live like this. So I said to her, do you think if I see the cardiologist, maybe it has something to do with my heart? I worked on a cardiac floor. And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll give you a referral. So she gives me the referral. I go talk to the cardiologist. She's like, I think you're dehydrated. Go try some Gatorade. Drink. To add salt onto injury, my clinical site, I used to drive an hour, 15 minutes from my house. I tried fasting. So I would wake up. I'm like, I'm not going to eat. Let me see if I fast and maybe, God. Let me tell you, I would doze on the way to my clinical site. I'm driving on this road. Of course, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning because I had to be there. No, 7 o'clock. I would literally doze off. So I went from drinking 8 ounces of coffee to having like more than 20 ounces of coffee in the morning just to keep me awake. I went from not just drinking coffee in the morning to making Weetabix. Most of you know Weetabix, right? I would make Weetabix and eat it in the morning because I thought the energy would keep me awake. So she's like, you're dehydrated, drink plenty of fluids, drink Gatorade and all that. We did that. We did an ultrasound of the heart. And everything was normal. Then she goes, you had a baby. Could you have anemia, And I had told her, I said, when I went to the emergency room, I said, the weirdest thing about my blood work, and it's good, so by the way, it's good to know your body. Know what your numbers are. So know what your baseline is. Educate yourself. CBC, complete blood count. Chemistries, know what your electrolytes, know the normals. But especially the hemoglobin for women, childbearing, know what your hemoglobin levels are. So I told her, I said, it's weird because when I went to the ED, my hemoglobin was normal. For the women. So I said, my hemoglobin was normal. I have never had a normal hemoglobin. It was 12. Hemoglobin for women, normal is 12 to 16. Women, most of the time, as long as you're childbearing, it's okay to have a hemoglobin of 10 because Men, this is adult, right? You're menstruating, so you have that blood loss that happens every month. If you have a heavy cycle, then of course, it contributes, and then we don't eat as healthy as we should be eating. So long story short, so I told her, I said, and she thinks, and she's like, maybe it was concentrated because you're dehydrated, so that's why your hemoglobin looked normal. So we did more studies only to discover I was iron deficient. So iron deficient is when the body's causes of iron deficiency. So there's blood loss, then there's inadequate intake of iron-rich foods, and then there's other chronic diseases that can cause your body not to absorb or retain enough iron. So, sorry, quick. So anyway, I ended up getting my, the iron treatments, and by the grace of God, almost 6 months later, I was like a new person. It didn't work right away, but I was like a new person. So in that journey, I had, because of that, the fatigue, remember, so I told you how I used to be tired all the time. I would go to work, I could literally go to work and sleep. And I was, I could never get enough sleep. I had one person tell me, Stella, I think you have postpartum disorder. I think you're depressed. And I looked at her. By the grace of God, I didn't know what to tell her. I felt like crying. I felt like, she was an older woman. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, you don't understand. I knew something wasn't right. I just didn't know what. This was before I even got, I knew what was ailing me. And then somebody else who happened to be, I thought was a friend, tells me, it's all in your head. So mental health. So to say that, of course, fatigue, the excessive sleeping, some of those can be symptoms of mental health, because when you are depressed or you have other underlying issues, you just have no energy. You don't want to do anything. It's coming from here. But now when somebody tells you it's in your head, change how you think. And I'm like, for the life of me, I can barely stay awake. So let's be careful, even us as, immigrants, African Americans, let's be careful how we talk to people, how we address people, how we respond to somebody. Even if you think they have a mental issue, we have a doctor in our church, he's a psychiatric mental health and professional. So he said, do not call people names. Don't call her depressed, Don't call her anxious. Actually, in the issues of suicide, don't say they committed suicide. Because now you have a family that is traumatized by the fact that their loved one has gone. Don't add more trauma. We just talked about trauma, right? Don't add more trauma on top of what they're already experiencing. They died by suicide, not they committed. Because this person, mental health, right? In our African American communities, in our African, the real African back home, Kenya, Congo, and East Africa and West Africa, you can only imagine. I can't talk to my mother and tell her I'm depressed. She's going to ask me, what's wrong with you? Snap out of it, When you come here, yeah, and then Dr. Grace is here. She's like, Stella, with all your accolades, why are you depressed, Nobody understands, but we all have our struggles, so we have to be careful how we even address each other and how we deal with people who, even if you suspect somebody has mental health or mental illness, not mental health, mental illness, the best way to do it's hard. It's very hard to even trying to get to that person and getting them to get the help. But of course we pray, because I believe in prayer, but don't tell them we're going to pray and not do anything about it. Because haven't we had people who have died by suicide because while we were praying, we did not, even if you're teaching somebody how to pray, I think we have to be very careful going through that, walking that journey with that person, because where they are is a very different place. I think we have to really understand what they are going through. And you cannot understand. Actually, when I talk to my patients, I tell them, I don't know what you're going through, but I can see from what I see. And when you tell me I hear you, I can never fully understand. But I'll be here, we'll walk with you, we'll do everything we can do to make this process easy for you. And that's all we can do, even for the mental health. So understanding that mental illness also stems from chronic diseases. So I have an auntie We talked about pain, right? Pain is also a sign of mental health. My auntie is always in pain. And her pain is dependent on how she's feeling. Because one day she can come, she'll clean the house, she'll cook. But once she's done cooking, she's going to have reflux, and it's heartburn. There's a way she calls it, and then she's going to have this back pain. She's going to go and sleep. She's not even going to eat that food. And then she's going to be there, and then the next morning she'll wake up and tell you how she threw up all night last night and how she didn't sleep. And I'm like, you cooked, you cleaned, you did all these things yesterday. But now, how do we get her to get the help she needs? Somebody who's in Kenya, you can imagine telling them, and then the medical professions, it's just sad. I think, may God help us as we are learning and as we are talking about this, when we go back home to help change the culture, because I think that's another thing that fails us back home is they're not equipped. And they have the knowledge. I think we're just maybe a little bit ignorant, or maybe a lot. We come from a place where we try not to understand, and we judge and we condemn a lot. You know, why are you, why? You know, those of you that have gone through nursing school, we were taught never to ask the question why. It is very judgmental. So when we ask why, always now it's in the back of my mind, I have to be very cautious when I ask a question, never ask why, because it's very judgmental. And of course, that's what we hear even when we talk to our kids or our family members. Why? Why are you doing this? Why did you say that? But we have to be careful. So mental health, the experience of being black in America varies tremendously. There are shared cultural factors that play a role in helping define mental health. So like I said, people who were here, whose parents were here and experienced slavery, they have a very different perspective of mental health. As immigrants, we also have a very different perspective of mental health or mental illness. We have our own issues too and our own struggles trying to adopt culture shock and culture differences. So all those contribute to mental health. Part of the shared cultural experience is family connections, values, expressions through spirituality, music, reliance on community, networks, religious networks. And all these are enriching. That's why we are here, right? These are part of the ways that we can help improve our mental health. However, another part of this shared experience is facing racism, discrimination, and inequity. And we all can attest to that, right? We all have been subject to racism in one way or another. I've taken care of a patient whose son would not talk to me directly because he's white and black. So he was talking through the wife to ask me questions. He's sitting right there. The wife is there. The patient is here, and I'm right here. Literally. The bed is here. So the patient is here. He's there. The wife is here. I'm here. He's telling the wife, ask her when he will be discharged. So that's racism, right? We all face it different. Now, when we have an accent, some people tend to maybe be a little nicer to us, and now they're, where are you from? Everybody has had that question, right? So, but that's the racism. That's part of the mental illness or part of the mental health that we experience as African Americans. And of course, according to the Health and Human Services Office, black adults in the U.S. are more likely than white adults to report persistent symptoms, I think I talked about, of emotional distress such as sadness, helplessness, feeling like everything is an effort. I think we've all been there. Black adults living below the poverty line are more than twice as likely to report serious psychological distress than those who are, doing better financially. And so if we go to an institution like I guess the hospital puts me in much of a favorable position to see some of these things. The black people, African Americans, you see them more in the emergency room. They'll come with the symptoms Dr. Grace was describing, pain, headaches, the symptoms, the chest pain. But in actuality, they don't know how to express it. But then again, it's undiagnosed, right? So even when they go, some of them don't even have primary care doctors. So the quickest, like I did, the quickest place to get help is the emergency room. I knew if I went to my primary care doctor, it would take at least 2 days to get my blood work back. It would take another maybe week or so to get back with her. And I knew, I felt in my heart I wasn't going to get the help I needed. So people go to the emergency room because they know they can get the help they need. And that is part of I met actually somebody. Homelessness, actually. Homelessness is a mental illness, by the way, if you didn't know. Because there's a reason why most people are still homeless, despite all the resources that this country has to offer. But because it's a mental illness. So no matter what you do, families actually never judge families. You're like, how can they be living in that nice home and their son lives We have seen their son downtown, borrowing money or begging money and sleeping outside. It's mental illness. Trust me, most of these families have tried their level best. They have given them chance after chance after chance, and that's where prayer comes again. When you've done all you can, and you just have to, you pray and leave it in God's hands. So mental health stigma among black immigrant women. So this was I read this article. It was a study that was done on immigrants. So I was trying to tie, the mental health or mental illness as it relates to us as immigrants. So what I noticed is that this study was done on immigrants only. The sad thing about it, even though it focused on West Africa and East Africa, they only chose, or the people who they used were only women who could speak English. And you see the number, I don't know if I have put it there. There's somewhere it said only 22 women so they had 23. One was excluded because they could not speak English. So, like we talked about, it's very much understudied because some of these are people from here who are trying to study mental health in, how immigration affects people when they come here. But then again, they cannot be able to provide that because if you can't speak English, you can't express yourself. So that's also some sort of discrimination that happens. So mental health stigma results in unmet mental health needs. And so let me see if there's anything that I need to mention here, but I know you can read the slides, right? 1 in 10 black people are foreign born, and 1 in 5 black people are either first or second generation immigrants. Coming here, I think, as an only person, like you're the first person here with no family, and by the time you discover who you are, especially those of us that came as young adults or teenagers or youth, by the time you discover who you are and what to do and what you're supposed to do, you don't have your parents there with you, then it takes a lot to get there. So I will skip that and I will go to more the topic. Let me mention this. Black immigrants tend to have low levels of mental health utilization despite the high levels of need. They avoid the hospitals. I think it's just a stigma. So that's where my topic of stigma comes in. And there's one thing that I'll mention too. There's something called the social determinants of health. Social determinants of health is a very real reason why people do not get the health care they need. If you go to, so I'm not familiar with Tennessee, but if you go to the elite neighborhoods in Tennessee or in Nashville or in Smyrna, you will realize that the facilities in those the suburbs or the nicer neighborhoods, they have better facilities. Wait until you go to where now the subsidies, the subsidized housings are, or where most of the black community lives, so where the people who have low socioeconomic, where the affordable housing, let me use that word, where you have affordable housing, you find that even their facilities and the type of shops that are there, you'd be surprised. Go to a nice elite neighborhood, you find, is it Trader Joe's? You find the bigger supermarkets and Publix and all that. Go to the other ones. That's where you find Ingles. And anyway, but that's the social determinants of health. So we are going to talk about stigma. So we stand up with stigma. Let's talk about mental health. So what is stigma? Stigma is defined as when someone views you in a negative way because you have a distinguishing characteristic that is either personal trait or thought to be a disadvantage. So it's a negative stereotype. So, and we kind of know that even us ourselves, even though we are Africans, we also stigmatize people. If you see somebody who's really dark, you're already saying, somewhere else, you know? If you see somebody who's this way and that way, we like to stare. You're different. We like to show people they're different. And that's stigma. So the stigma of mental health, it's a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. So mental health, right? A negative attitude or idea about a mental, physical, or social feature of a person or a group. That's some of the definitions of stigma. And also stigma is a set of negative and unfair beliefs that a society or group of people have about something. So it's all those things that we've talked about. We cannot talk about mental illness because it has a stigma in our community. Stigma can lead to discrimination. Do we all know that? Because stigma can lead to discrimination. So, I know Africa. So they don't even speak English. She said about broken English. So they already stigmatized you. And so because you don't speak English, they've already cut you off. That's a stigma, right? When you're, whatever they think. So people with mental health,